Heartwarming discovery. Millionaire's laughter exposed as he sees amazing balance of $1 million. Jack stubbed his toe on the rusted toolbox in his garage. Not that it mattered much. The day had been just like any other. He wiped the grease from his brow and stretched, feeling the fatigue from a double shift seep deep into his bones. Yet, when he finally sat down with his phone, ready for a moment of relief, he found himself staring at the notification that would change everything. $1 million, and all at once, the world around him cracked open, showering him in a whirlwind of disbelief and joy. The laughter erupted from him like a geyser, echoing off the tool-strewn walls. It was a piercing sound, the kind you don't expect to come from a middle-aged mechanic. The laughter turned into gasps, and he felt the weight of promise. Images danced in his head. New bikes for his kids, a sailing trip with his wife, maybe even the renovation of that crumbling playground that had haunted his dreams. Jack could almost see it bustling with local children again, their laughter blending with the wind. With anticipation bubbling inside him, he raced home, heart pounding. However, that evening would hold more than joy. It would also unleash suspicion. When he burst through the door, Nicole looked up from the kitchen table, her smile faltering as she caught the gleam in his eyes. "What's wrong, Jack?" she asked, sensing the shift. "You look different." "I just got some unbelievable news," he exclaimed, thrusting his phone toward her. As she read the message, her eyes went wide. $1 million. "Jack, are you serious?" But the thrill of the moment faded into uncertainty. She reached for his hand, her brows knitted. "What are we gonna do with this?" "I know just the things we can do. We could fix the roads, help the schools, even upgrade that playground." His voice built with excitement. But as he spoke, the happiness in her eyes was overshadowed by a flicker of doubt. "Jack," she said gently, "it's a lot of money. Are you sure it won't change us?" Just as he was about to reassure her, Jack felt a flicker of worry himself. He spent the next weeks figuring out how to balance the delicate dance with sudden wealth. Friends and neighbors showed mixed reactions, cheers mixed with veiled contempt and jealousy. Old ties began to weaken, as if the money had created an invisible wedge. Then came Mike, his estranged brother. Years of distance and silence came rushing back in a dark haze. "So I see you're Mr. Bigshot now," Mike said, bitterness lacing his words when they eventually met. Jack tried to extend forgiveness, to build a bridge, but it only led to heated arguments. Old wounds were reopened and stubborn pride hung thick in the air. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Jack was left grappling with his identity as whispers of distrust echoed in the town. Could he rise above the envy? Could he make peace not just with himself, but with his brother and the community? The laughter from that fateful day felt distant now, replaced by the heavy thrum of anxiety. Just when he thought a gathering could bring them together, troubling news swept through Maple Grove like a storm. Would he remain the same Jack the townsfolk had always known? Or would the wealth dim the light in his heart? The answers began to swirl, leaving one question standing tall above the others. What truly defines a man's worth in the eyes of his community? Days turned into weeks, and the initial excitement of the $1 million started to feel more like an anchor than a dream. Every time Jack walked down the familiar streets of Maple Grove, he felt the weight of scrutiny on his shoulders. The townsfolk whispered as he passed, their mixed looks full of curiosity and skepticism. Had he changed? Did they see someone who had risen above them, or someone who lost his roots? Jack tried to carry on with daily life, but it was increasingly difficult to shake the nagging feeling of judgment. His driveway filled with a new truck, one he had always wanted, yet it brought him no joy. Instead, doubt crept in when he saw neighbors glance sideways, trying to hide their surprise. One chilly morning, Jack decided to visit the old playground. It was a project deeply rooted in his heart. He envisioned swings gleaming under the sun, laughter echoing through the air. But the reality was stark. The playground was still run down, the swings rusted and worn. Jack set to work on plans to renovate it, but hesitation lingered as he thought about rising costs and how the townspeople would react if he were to truly go through with it. Meanwhile, the rift with Mike grew wider. Their heated discussions spiraled into silence. Jack longed for the brotherly bond they once shared, but struggled to find the right words to mend it. What could he say to bridge the distance created by their differences? He knew he needed to reach out, but how? The shame of past grievances sat between them like a brick wall. That evening, Nicole sat beside him, her own worry peeking through her comforting voice. "Jack, I see how this has affected you. It's like you're carrying bricks in your backpack. Maybe it's time to put them down." He looked at her, eyes widening with confusion. "But what do I do? Do I give it all away? Just forget it?" "No," she replied softly, "but try to share it. Don't let it become your enemy. Use it to heal what was broken." Jack felt a sudden spark of clarity. "Help, you mean help our community?" "Exactly," Nicole nodded. "Just imagine what it could mean for Maple Grove if you led by example, instead of hiding behind fear." Jack's heart raced at the thought. The playground renovation could be the start. He pictured a big reveal, the faces of children lighting up at the sight of shiny new swings. Would that bring unity? Could it help rekindle his relationship with Mike too? The idea grew feathers in his mind. He picked up his phone, mind swirling with plans. Maybe this was the way forward. As he began drafting a community meeting, the excitement surged back through him. Perhaps he could spark a revolution of goodwill in Maple Grove, turning the envy into hope and shadows into light. But as he sent out the invites, a sinking feeling struck deep in his gut. What if it backfired? What if the townsfolk didn't share his vision? Would he be seen as a hero or a fool hoping to fix things with good intentions? And just as these thoughts consumed him, a sudden knock echoed through the living room, hard and impatient. The moment he opened the door, he came face to face with Mike, looking more unsteady than ever, as if the ground beneath him was crumbling. "Jack, we need to talk," his brother's voice trembled. Was this the moment he'd been waiting for? Or yet another argument waiting to ignite as the past clawed its way back? Jack's heart thudded painfully against his chest, the tension rising as he stepped aside to let Mike in. What would come next? The air thickened with unspoken words as Mike stepped inside. Jack's pulse quickened, the tension between them tangible. He closed the door behind him, anxiety ricocheting off the walls. "What's going on?" Jack finally managed, his voice softer than he intended. Mike ran a hand through his hair, a familiar gesture that hinted at his distress. "I don't know how to say this, man. I haven't been myself lately." Jack took a cautious step closer, the vulnerability in Mike's eyes reminiscent of their childhood, where words were easy and burdens lighter. "It's okay. Just talk to me." Taking a deep breath, Mike shifted his weight. "It's not just the money. It's everything. People look at you differently now. I thought I'd be happy for you, but I can't shake these feelings. It's like I don't even recognize you anymore." Jack's heart constricted. "I feel lost too," he admitted, the truth spilling out before he could catch it. "I thought the money would change everything, but it hasn't. I feel like I'm stuck in this spotlight. People see me as someone different, as a target." "Exactly. And that's why I've been pulling away. I thought maybe you'd forgotten about us, about the way things used to be." Mike's voice cracked. "But that's not true. I don't want to lose you. I miss my brother." The floodgates opened. Jack stepped forward, reaching out to clasp Mike's shoulder. "I miss you too. I've been scared to reach out. Afraid you'd think I was different. That I didn't need you anymore. But you do. We all have our battles," Mike insisted, eyes fierce with emotion. "And this whole thing feels like a load on both our shoulders." Jack felt the warmth of connection swimming back into existence. "I want to change things. I want to help our community. I was thinking about renovating the playground. Maybe it would bring us all together. It could be a way to share the money meaningfully." Mike's brow furrowed as he considered this. "A playground? You really think people would accept that?" "It's a start. I want to show them I haven't forgotten where I come from. I thought it could be a way to build bridges instead of burning them. But I'm scared. What if it fails, Mike? We won't know unless we try." Mike's expression transformed from apprehension to resolve. We can do this together. If we can get out there and rally the townsfolk, make them a part of it, maybe they can feel what we feel. Jack's heart swelled at the prospect. The thought of bringing joy to the community filled him with purpose. You'll help me? Of course. Mike grinned, a renewed light sparking in his eyes. Let us turn this ship around. The brothers stood there, shoulders squared against the world and revived by a shared sense of purpose. Jack felt it, the weight of judgment lifting, replaced by a hope that shone like the sun breaking through clouds. But just then, as the brothers began to discuss plans, another knock came at the door, this time frantic and insistent. Jack's stomach dropped. Who could that be? Mike frowned, sharing a puzzled look with Jack. Should we see? Jack nodded slowly, his heartbeat quickening once more. He braced himself against the doorframe, opening the door wide. Standing there was Mrs. Thompson, her face pale and frantic. Jack. Mike. You need to come with me. It's about the playground. The words hung heavy in the air. Jack's resolve began to tremble. What could have happened? And why did it feel like the ground was shifting again beneath him? Jack's heart raced as he stared at Mrs. Thompson, her eyes wide with urgency. What happened? Is someone hurt? He asked, dread slipping in like a shadow. No, it's not that, Mrs. Thompson rushed. It's about the playground. There's been some news. She beckoned them urgently, glancing back over her shoulder as if fearful someone might overhear. Mike glanced at Jack, confusion mingling with alarm. What news? Just come on, she urged, practically pulling them out the door. As they stepped outside, the crisp evening air hit Jack's face, but it did little to clear his mind. What could be so urgent about a playground? They hurried down the street. People gathered murmuring in front of the old community center. Jack's stomach twisted with nerves as he pushed through the crowd with Mike and Mrs. Thompson. He found himself scanning the faces, looking for answers he couldn't yet articulate. As they reached the front, a sense of disbelief flooded Jack. Posters plastered everywhere read "Save Our Playground." They were accompanied by hastily written pleas declaring a town meeting planned for the next day. We need to do something about this, Jack, Mrs. Thompson said, her focus shifting between Jack and Mike. The town can't stand the thought of losing the playground. Everyone thinks a wealthy newcomer, like you, won't care enough to keep it. It's too important to so many, Mike added quietly. The kids, we have so many memories there. Jack's throat felt tight, a mix of guilt and frustration bubbling inside him. We were just talking about renovating it. I thought people would be excited. They are, Mrs. Thompson replied, urgency creeping back into her voice. But they don't know you want to help. They see you as just another rich guy who will take what he wants and leave. But I don't want that. Jack protested. I want to give back. I want to show them I care. His resolve felt like it could burst like a balloon. A voice broke through the crowd, drawing attention. Jack. Mike. It was Luke, one of their childhood friends. His brow was furrowed, concern etched into his features. We're worried. What's gonna happen to the playground? We can't let them demolish it for condos. The town's getting jumpy, another neighbor chimed in. They think it's already in jeopardy. Jack's pulse quickened. He could feel the weight of everyone's hope resting on him. But what could he do? $1 million didn't come with an instruction manual on community restoration. I'll do everything I can to help, he said, lifting his chin, determination sharpening his voice. I'll hold that meeting. I'll show them we can keep the playground and make it better. A collective sigh of relief rolled through the crowd. Jack could feel the shift in energy, like a spark lighting a fire. Hope welled around them, and for the first time he felt confident. What about a community event? A fundraiser? We can bring everyone together to raise money for the renovations, Mike suggested, his excitement growing. Jack nodded, feeling the ripples of possibility. Yes. We can get supplies, food trucks, games. It'll show everyone what we have to offer. But as they discussed the plans, an ominous flash of headlights caught Jack's eye. A sleek black car pulled up beside them, its engine rumbling ominously. The driver's side window rolled down, and the face that emerged sent a shiver down Jack's spine. Jack, the stranger called out sharply, eyes narrowed. We need to talk. His heart now thundered as the weight of uncertainty came crashing back. Who was this person, and why did they look so intimidating? What did they want? The air thickened again, cloaked under a new layer of tension, leaving Jack wondering if this was the moment that would change everything for better or for worse. Jack's breath hitched as he took a step forward, curiosity battling fear. The crowd around him seemed to hold its breath, eyes darting between him and the ominous figure in the car. Who was this stranger? And what did he mean by needing to talk? The question hung heavy in the air, thick with unspoken worries. Who are you? Jack's voice was steadier than he felt, echoing over the whispers in the crowd. The stranger smirked slightly, their expression more calculating than friendly. Let us just say, I'm someone who knows about your plans for the playground. A wave of unease rolled through Jack. You know about them? How? His mind raced, thoughts colliding like storm clouds. No need to panic, I want to help, the man continued smoothly, ignoring Jack's apprehension. But we need to have a real conversation, away from the crowd. Jack glanced back at Mike and Mrs. Thompson, their faces taut with concern. He didn't want to walk away, but something in the man's demeanor hinted that it was necessary. With a shaky breath, Jack nodded, and the stranger gestured for him to approach the vehicle. Let us talk, the man urged, his tone deceptively calm. Mike reached out, placing a hand on Jack's arm. Be careful, man. We don't know who this guy is. I will, Jack promised, his heart racing as he took one last look at his friends, before stepping closer to the car. The stranger leaned back, motioning to the passenger seat. Get in. It'll be quick. With a deep breath, Jack climbed inside. As the door shut, he felt a wave of claustrophobia wash over him. The car smelled new, but not in a comforting way. It felt sterile, like a place where secrets could be spun. Who are you? Jack demanded again, frustration mingling with unease. Name's Victor, the man said, his voice smooth but laced with something sharp. And I work with the town's planning committee. Your playground, it's more than just a set of swings and slides. It's South valuable real estate. That simple phrase sent chills down Jack's spine. Are you telling me the town values it for the land? Victor nodded, a calculating look in his eye. They see dollar signs, Jack. New condos, retail space. There's a lot of pressure to change this area. And you'll need to tread carefully. Everyone thinks you're just another rich guy who'll come in, sweep it away, and leave. Panic surged in Jack's gut. But I'm trying to help. I don't want that to happen. He could barely keep the tremor from his voice. Victor leaned in, lowering his voice. If you really want to save that playground, you've got to be ready for a fight. There are others who don't want that playground for anyone but themselves. They'll stop at nothing to get what they want. Jack swallowed hard, a wave of determination washing over him. Tell me what I need to do, he said, the fire in his belly igniting. First, gain the community's trust. Show them you're not just a millionaire with deep pockets. They need to see you really see you, Victor replied, his gaze searching Jack's. And be prepared to fight legally and publicly. You'll face challenges and not everyone will be on your side. Suddenly, the weight of the task ahead felt daunting. It wasn't just about saving a playground. It was about standing up against those who wanted to take something precious away. Can you help me? Jack asked, meeting Victor's gaze straight on. Yeah, I can, Victor replied, a smirk creeping back onto his face. But don't expect it to be easy. This is just the beginning. As they exchanged numbers and made plans, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that things were about to get even more complicated. Would he be able to hold his ground and protect the playground? But as the car rolled away, Jack glanced back at the crowd still gathered by the community center, the resolve echoing in their hopeful faces. He knew he couldn't let them down. The road ahead would be tough. However, as he felt a spark of purpose ignite within him, Jack couldn't help but wonder what surprises and struggles awaited him in this battle to save the heart of their community. Jack sat in the cramped passenger seat, trying to absorb everything Victor had just thrown at him. The car hummed softly, but his thoughts were racing. He didn't want to just be an outsider looking in. He wanted to be their ally, their champion. All right, Jack said, swallowing the knot in his throat. How do I start? Victor cleared his throat and leaned back, his expressions shifting from casual coolness to intense focus. Listen. You need to meet with the community leaders. Show them your intentions are genuine. Attend their meetings, share your vision. But you need to be forthright. They smell insincerity from a mile away. Who are these community leaders? Jack asked, eager to grasp the next step. Victor raised an eyebrow. Surprisingly, most are just passionate people from your neighborhood. There's Mrs. Thompson, of course, who you've met. Then there's Derek, the owner of the local hardware store, and Maria from the main office at the school. They all care deeply about that playground. Get them on your side, and the battle will be easier. The gravity of it all hit Jack again. It felt enormous, like holding a weight above his head that he had to lift alone. What if they don't believe in me? Then you have to convince them, Victor said. Share your story. They need to understand that you are not just a millionaire who wants land for profit. You have to embody the values of this community. Then rally their support. Numbers win fights. Jack nodded slowly, piecing together what he needed to do. How do you know all of this? Victor's smirk faded a little, replaced by something more earnest. I've seen enough projects come and go. Towns can be ruthless when greed gets involved. But when people band together for a common cause, that's where real power lies. The weight of the responsibility pressed upon Jack. This was about more than a playground. It was about building trust, restoring hope, and igniting collective strength within the community. He sensed that Victor believed in him. It made the struggle feel just a bit less lonely. As they pulled up to a small diner on the corner of Main Street, Victor glanced over. Grab a bite. You'll need your energy to face those meetings. Eating with people allows for connection. It makes you relatable. Jack got out and took a deep breath of the crisp air. An invigorating change from the sterile confines of the car. The diner was familiar and welcoming. A place where laughter and chatter spilled from within. Think about your first move, Victor urged as they walked toward the entrance. What's your pitch to Mrs. Thompson going to be? Jack thought hard, grappling with the fear of failing to live up to the expectations. Yet he was determined to make this work. As he opened the door, the sounds of clinking dishes and cheerful conversations wrapped around him. He spotted Mrs. Thompson sitting in a booth with a steaming cup of coffee, but her welcoming smile faded ever so slightly when he approached. Jack, you look different. Everything okay? Jack hesitated for just a moment before he spoke, the swirl of emotions pushing him forward. I've got some news. But first, can I sit down? As he slid into the booth, the sound of forks clinking against plates filled the air, but all Jack could hear was the thundering of his heart. He was about to shift the course of everything. Listen, he began, grabbing her attention fully. I need your help, and as he began to unfold his vision, Jack felt that spark of purpose ignite again, but with a flicker of doubt. What if this conversation would change everything? What if Mrs. Thompson didn't see the same light? He pressed on, not knowing if he would lift the spirits of the community or deepen the chasm of skepticism. Outside, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over the diner. But inside, the warmth of community and hope began to spark a connection. Would they lean in, or would they pull away? As they talked, Jack couldn't shake the question that lingered. Could he truly win their trust and protect what mattered most? Jack leaned in, the distance between him and Mrs. Thompson disappearing as he shared the first grain of his plan. Her eyes locked onto his, curiosity sparking a flicker of hope. I really believe we can rebuild the playground, he continued, his voice soft but steady. I want to turn it into a safe space for every kid in our neighborhood. I want it to be a place that brings families together. Mrs. Thompson's brow furrowed slightly. That's a grand vision, Jack. But a lot of people have tried to make promises before. And it didn't always end well. We've been let down. Jack felt the weight of her words. He understood now that his past successes, his wealth, would mean nothing if he couldn't back them up with genuine commitment. I get it, he said, making sure to keep his tone sincere. But I'm not just a guy from outside the neighborhood looking to profit. This matters to me. And I want to bring us all together for something real. She leaned back, studying him. A nurse for most of her life, he could see the skepticism in her eyes, the protective instinct that had developed from years of watching others fail. The diner hummed around them, and Jack felt the pressure of every person seated at a nearby table. They were caught in the gravity of this moment. I want to hold meetings, he added quickly, sensing that they were losing steam. I want people like you, Derek and Maria involved. Hear their concerns, integrate their ideas. This playground should be a community effort. I'm willing to listen and adapt. Whatever it takes, I want to make this happen together. We can be a team. Jack leaned closer, seeking to ensure she saw his sincerity. I know I'm new to this, but I promise you, I'm willing to put in the work. This isn't just about money or land for me. It's about the kids who dream of having a place to play again. It's about hope. Mrs. Thompson sighed, her grip on the coffee cup easing slightly. You sound passionate, Jack. But passion alone isn't enough. What will happen when the first challenge arises? When someone throws a curveball your way? We've seen dreams get crushed here before. He took a breath, envisioning every swing and slide. The laughter that would paint the air if only they could come together. That's exactly why I need you, he said. Not just to believe in this vision, but to be there every step of the way. You, Derek, and Maria know this community inside and out. So when the challenges come, you all can guide me. Let us protect each other. I want to be held accountable. Mrs. Thompson studied him, her heart visibly wrestling with the emotions swirling inside. Finally, a soft smile broke through. All right, Jack. I'll give you a chance, but know this. The community will be watching closely. We all want what's best for our kids. With her acceptance, Jack felt an immense weight lift. He leaned back in the booth, relief flooding his chest. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. I promise, you won't regret this. As they exchanged ideas and possibilities, laughter began to thread through their conversation. A warm bond slowly forming. Jack had taken the first step, and for the first time in a long while, he began to feel the deep stirring of hope. But as he glanced out the diner window, Jack caught sight of Derek just across the street, shaking his head as he watched a group of kids playing in a rundown park. The shadows fell over the playground, whispering of long-surpassed dreams, and Jack's heart tightened at the thought. Would he be able to rally the community as support? Could he really create something meaningful for them all? He turned back to Mrs. Thompson, the spark of determination igniting again in his chest. I want to set up a community meeting this week, he declared, his voice heavy with purpose. Let us gather everyone. Let us talk and create. Everyone needs to be a part of this. Yes, she agreed, suddenly animated. Let us do it. With that, their connection deepened, and the path ahead felt filled with promise. Now a new wave of nerve washed over him. Would he have the courage to face the inevitable scrutiny? Could he transform his lofty ideas into tangible hope? As they continued their conversation, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenge was just beginning. The weight of change was heavy, but the spark of possibility tinged the air. Would this small step lead to greater things? Or would it flounder like all the attempts before? Jack barely slept that night. His mind whirled with thoughts of the meeting. He had promised Mrs. Thompson and himself that he would bring the community together, but doubt curled around him like a vine. Would they trust him? The very same people who had been let down time and time again? Morning light slipped through the window, a gentle reminder that time didn't stop for hope or fear. He made his way down the stairs, heart racing as he prepared to start calling people. Each dial was a mix of anticipation and dread. Would they pick up? Would they care? After a few hours, he finally managed to gather a small group. Mrs. Thompson, Derek, Maria, and a couple of parents he recognized from the neighborhood. When they all arrived at the local community center, the air crackled with a daunting mix of uncertainty and excitement. As he looked around the room, he could see the wariness in their eyes. Parents murmured with each other, kids shifted impatiently in their seats, and the room felt smaller with each passing second. Jack took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of conviction. He stepped forward. Thank you all for being here, he started, his voice firm but tinged with vulnerability. I know there may be a lot of skepticism around this project. You've all seen promises made and broken before. I understand why you might not trust an outsider. He paused, letting his words linger. But I'm not here just to talk about swings and slides. I'm here to talk about creating a future for our kids. A place for them to be free, to laugh, and to grow. A playground is just the beginning. A murmur rippled through the crowd, cautiously intrigued. He noticed Derek's eyebrow raised slightly. That was something. Jack continued, I believe it's important for us to listen to each other. We need your ideas, your concerns, your stories. This isn't going to be my project, it's ours. Maria, who he noticed was being fidgety, suddenly lifted her hand. You mean to tell us that you're willing to take input from people like us? The folks who actually live here? Yes, absolutely, Jack affirmed, encouraged by the spark in her eyes. Without your voices, this project would be lopsided, a dream built on guesswork. We need to hear everything, no matter how small. Even if it's just how you feel when you see the old playground crumbling. Mrs. Thompson nodded, a thoughtful expression crossing her face. Talk is good, Jack, but how about actions? When will we see something happening? Jack smiled, feeling newfound confidence. I want to start fundraising as soon as possible. Together, we can plan events, sell lemonade, hold bake sales, whatever it takes. The first thing we need is to show the community that this is possible and spark interest in others. As he spoke, the mood of the room shifted. Parents leaned in closer. Kids whispered excitedly to one another. The shadows of uncertainty were lifting, replaced by a hint of anticipation. I'll even pledge my own money to kickstart this, Jack announced boldly, heart racing. I believe we can gather enough support to create something beautiful. I want all of you to be proud of this place. For the first time, genuine smiles spread across faces. Jack felt some weight lift from his shoulders as new energy filled the air. Laughter replaced tension, and a wave of hope swept through the room, like a sun breaking through a dense fog. But just as he started to think they might be on the right track, Maria suddenly raised her hand again, eyes wide. What if we try to involve the kids too? They're the ones who'll be playing there. Yes. What a great idea, Jack exclaimed, already picturing a future filled with vibrant murals and chatter. As plans began to form, Jack realized how much he had underestimated the power of community. It was about shared stories, real conversations, and common goals. But just then, the door creaked open. Jack turned, his heart skipping a beat. A stranger stood in the doorway, expression unreadable. Did someone say fundraising? Because I've got a feeling you're going to need more than kids' games to get this off. The ground, a chill ran down Jack's spine. Who was this newcomer, and what impact would they bring? Jack's gaze locked onto the stranger, a man dressed in a crisp blazer that seemed out of place in the casual community center. The newcomer had an air of confidence that made whispers ripple through the gathering, eyes darting back and forth with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Can we help you? Jack managed to ask, keeping his voice steady, though his heart raced. The man stepped inside, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. Name's Simon. I overheard your little meeting here, and let me tell you, it's refreshing to see someone wanting to do something for this community. Jack felt a faint glimmer of hope. You think so? We're just getting started. Just getting started? Simon chuckled, leaning back against the wall, arms crossed. You've got ambition, I'll give you that. But this kind of project takes serious funding. You'll need some savvy moves if you want to attract local support. Trust me, I know a thing or two about starting ventures. The room fell silent, everyone hanging on to the newcomer's every word. What do you mean? Jack asked cautiously, not wanting to get ahead of himself. I work with investors, people who want to put their money into projects they believe in. But you need to show them you can pull a crowd. Simon's eyes sparkled as he glanced around the room. What you need is something bigger than bake sales and lemonade stands. You need a community event. A festival, in fact. Something that brings everyone together and gains attention. That is actually a really good idea, Jack said, processing the suggestion. A festival could create excitement, engage everyone, and raise considerable funds. He turned to Maria, who was nodding enthusiastically. But how would we even begin organizing something like that? She asked, sounding both intrigued and overwhelmed. Start with what the community loves, Simon said. Music, food, games. Show off your local talent. Make it a day of celebration. People will want to contribute if they see all the fun happening right in front of them. He threw up his hands, as if painting a picture. Imagine food trucks lining the streets, a stage with live performances, booths with crafts, the whole works. As Simon shared his vision, Jack felt the atmosphere in the room shift again. Hope bubbled up through the tension. The parents exchanged glances, kids' eyes widened in excitement, and there was a collective hum of possibility. But where would we hold such an event? Derek asked. Now that's the fun part. We'll find a spot, even the old playground if need be. It'll be a juxtaposition showing what was and what can be. It could even serve as the grand kickoff for your playground project, Simon replied, his voice brimming with enthusiasm. Jack felt a spark ignite within him. We could plan for next month. It gives us time to prepare and spread the word. Exactly. Simon's smile grew wider. Plan it out, get people involved, and I'll help reach out to some sponsors. Just promise me this won't be another half-baked idea. His words hung in the air, a challenge, a push. Jack felt the weight of it. Would they be able to pull this off? Could they really involve the whole community? But what if we fail again? A voice piped up from the back, a worried mother's tone. Cracking like old paint. Simon never lost his grin. Then we learn. Every setback is a step towards success. But the point is to do it together to show everyone that this community is not giving up. Jack looked around at a group of faces brimming with curiosity and hope. All right then, he finally said, his chest pounding with determination. Let us do this. Let us organize the festival, and make this a moment the community can rally behind. Cheers erupted, and the air buzzed electric with renewed energy. As plans began to swirl around the room, Jack found himself feeling lighter, almost weightless. But just as excitement surged like a wave, a thought jolted him: this festival could be their turning point. But would it truly bring everyone together or expose deeper divides? His heart raced again, uncertainty creeping in. What if the very thing meant to unite them became another source of conflict? Jack's pulse quickened. The festival was a chance, a risk, and he could almost taste it. But was it all enough to hold his fractured community together? Hey Simon, do you think we could? But Simon had already disappeared into the crowd before Jack could finish. All eyes were now on him, waiting in expectancy. And just like that, Jack found himself feeling the weight of their aspirations resting squarely on his shoulders. What had he gotten himself into? Would he rise to the occasion? Or would he crumble under the pressure? The real testing ground was just beginning. Jack lay awake that night, watching the shadows dance on his bedroom walls, replaying the whirlwind of events from the community meeting. The festival weighed heavily on his mind. It was a bold chance to unify Maple Grove, but it was also a risk. His thoughts bounced like a pinball, striking every nerve. What if people didn't show up? What if it revealed deeper divides in the community? Could he salvage the playground and ultimately his fractured ties with Mike if the event faltered? Morning light tugged at the dusk, coaxing Jack out of bed. He needed clarity, direction. Over breakfast he scanned his phone, looking for inspiration. The date for their festival was set, and now the real work began. He brainstormed ideas, scribbling notes on paper napkins. Fun games, a bake-off, possibly even a talent show featuring local acts. This was a chance to showcase the community and build something new from the wreckage of old dreams. Jack, Nicole said, breaking into his swirling thoughts, you seem a bit overwhelmed. Are you okay? He looked up and smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I just want this to work, Nick. For everyone. Her gaze softened. I know you do. Just remember, sometimes it's the effort that counts most. Don't carry this all alone. Let us do it together. Her words warmed his heart, and he nodded, feeling a sense of gratitude. Yeah, you're right. It's going to take all of us. As news of the festival spread, excitement bubbled throughout Maple Grove. Flyers adorned utility poles, school newsletters promised participation, and kids began to chatter about the performances. Every corner lit up with anticipation. And for the first time in weeks, Jack felt a flutter of hope lift the weight off his shoulders. Mike watched the preparations keenly, finally finding the courage to join Jack as they worked side by side. You know, I was skeptical at first, Mike confessed as they painted signs together. But this feels different. The community actually seems excited. Jack smiled, looking over the distance where the old playground stood. Now a canvas for their dreams. They want to believe in something, Mike. And we owe it to them to deliver. The brothers worked in harmony, side by side, slowly leaving behind moments of discord. Their laughter stitching the past back together. They painted, hung banners, and planned out games while sharing stories of their childhood at the very playground they now fought to save. Finally, the day of the festival dawned. Sunshine lit up the sky. Birds sang with vigor, and the scent of funnel cakes mingled with fresh grass. Jack stood at the entrance, heart racing as families poured in. The parking lot overflowed, laughter erupted, and children darted toward games. The air vibrated with energy, a perfect mosaic of joy and community spirit. A small stage held performers from the neighborhood, their friends cheering them on. But the most heartening sight was Mike, standing nearby with Mrs. Thompson, both deep in conversation as they engaged families. Jack caught their smiles, and an overwhelming sense of satisfaction washed over him. Just when he thought everything would go smoothly, Jack noticed a gathering crowd around the booth for game sign-ups. Something felt off. A well-dressed couple stood there. People Jack didn't he recognize. Whispers of doubt echoed through the crowd. What are they doing here? They look like they think they own the place. Jack stepped closer, and his pulse quickened as he listened. The couple was discussing plans for the playground, speaking of developments that would change the area entirely. He clenched his fists. They sounded just like Victor's warning. A fire surged within him. "Excuse me," Jack called out, interrupting the murmurs. "We're trying to raise money for this playground, not demolish it." Silence fell, and all eyes turned toward him. The woman, surprised but confident, replied, "We're just taking initiative, Jack. You know as well as I do how valuable this property is. Not at the expense of our community." Jack shot back, his voice rising. "We're here to heal, to rebuild what matters. The playground isn't just land to us. It's a cornerstone of every childhood, every family's laughter." As he spoke, the crowd rallied, murmuring in support. The townspeople stood firm, united against an imposing presence. The couple exchanged glances, uncertainty settling in. Jack took a deep breath. "Maple Grove isn't going to allow developers to push us around. We've come together today, and we'll remain together every day after. The playground stays." Cheers erupted, unified voices strong and clear. Jack locked eyes with Mike, both men sharing a silent moment of understanding and brotherhood as the festival took on a life of its own. They stood strong against adversity, fortified not by wealth but by commitment. The heart of the community beat louder than any developer's plans, a triumph of spirit over profit. As the day unfolded, Jack couldn't escape the feeling of transformation. He wasn't just a millionaire anymore. He was part of something bigger. Together, they faced the unknown and vowed to protect what mattered most. In the fading light, Jack stood hand in hand with Nicole and Mike, their smiles radiant against the dusk. Joy washed over him, twisting and turning through the hope they had crafted together. This wasn't just the end of a festival. It was the beginning of a journey toward restoring heart and purpose, one swing and slide at a time. Jack had found his place with his family, his community, and the promise of laughter ringing through the air once more. And he knew that from this moment forward, they would always stand together, ready to take on whatever came next. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support, and leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this uplifting ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation.